A building can only stand tall if the foundation is strong. Proteins are known as the building blocks of life, ensuring we have a healthy body and lifestyle. Welcome to Protein X Protein Abhiyan, our campaign to make you aware about all things protein, how much we need it and where to get it from. Through this series, we have been talking with doctors, nutritionists and wellness coaches to understand why most of the Indian population isn't aware of what the ideal protein intake a day should be. I'm Ambika Singh Kama, and today we are joined by Shashi Iyengar, nutritionist. Thank you so much, Mr. Iyengar, for joining us.
Thank you.
You know, my first question to you is, as a nutritionist, people look up to you for health advice. Can you explain the importance of protein in maintaining a healthy lifestyle?
I think the importance of protein cannot be emphasized enough. So in India, we have what is called as protein ignorance. People do not know much about protein, frankly. And in fact, a survey, the Indian Market Research Survey has actually shown that 80% of Indian population are actually protein deficient. And 90% are not at all aware that they are deficient. So such is the state. In fact, the entire protein, as you rightly said, is the building block. Our entire structure is made primarily about protein. Your hair, your skin, your nails, everything requires protein. And while I'm commenting this, let me comment a very vital fact, which many may not know, is 40 to 50% of our bones are actually comprising of proteins, what is called as collagen protein. So this is a surprising fact which many will not know. And I think we cannot stress enough on the importance of protein, especially in Indian context where the protein ignorance runs very, very high.
I think that's a very important term which you've introduced us to, protein ignorance. I think that really holds true for India. Tell us the food items, Mr. Iyengar, that are good sources of protein, keeping in mind both vegetarians as well as non-vegetarians.
So, see, proteins are divided into what is called as class 1 protein and class 2.
Okay.
So, class 1 are those which are complete proteins. So, they are found only in animal source primarily. So, when it comes to vegetarians, the sources we have are dairy, that is paneer, we have yogurt, you have cheese. In fact, complete protein is also found in a plant source called soybeans or soya, but soybeans or soya contains a lot of anti-nutrients. So as a health coach, as a nutritionist, I primarily prefer for vegetarians the dairy proteins, that is paneer, yogurt or curds and cheese.
Okay.
Now, part of the vegetarians also take eggs. So eggs are a very high bioavailable proteins. Each egg contains around 6 grams of protein and very easy to cook and very easy to eat also.
Yes.
So this is something which can be taken by both veg and non-veg. Now, when it comes to non-veg, everything is open. So they have meat, they have fish,
Okay.
and they have chicken and all the other sources. So they can take all. So I think in India, the biggest issue is most of us are vegetarians.
Okay, yeah.
So even though a good part of us are non-vegetarians, we are non-veg only for 1 or 2 days in a week. Most of the days we are vegetarians.
So, you know,
the vegetarian source of protein becomes very important. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So vegetarians should, be more sure what they're really intaking, and especially, like you said, eggs is something which is easy to do. But you've rightly said that Indians have protein deficiency, most of us. How do you think we can bridge this gap?
I think the best way is to source protein, have a protein source in each of the meal. Now, in India, it is popularly thought that the pulses like dal are high protein. But if you really see, it contains higher amount of carbohydrate compared to protein, and it is class 2 protein. Now, do we really have concentrated source of this? No. If you see any Indian dish, the dal will be very, very thin. The amount of dal which has is very, very less. So what we need to do is we need to consciously add some protein source.
Okay.
So when it comes to veg, I will say please add some paneer, please add some yogurt, please add some cheese in each meal. When it comes to others, yes, you can have non-veg, you can have eggs. So I think each of the meal should have some way, some protein has to be added.
Okay. Mr. Iyengar, there is a huge spike in lifestyle diseases and disorders which can be attributed to environmental factors and poor quality food that is depleted of nutrients. What advice do you give our viewers to beat such issues with a healthy plate, to prevent them rather than to have to cure them? So let's look at a preventive rather than a curative approach.
You have touched upon a very important point of preventing rather than fixing it later. What's happening is most of the modern processed food are consisting of very high refined carbohydrate and fat. These are excess energy. We don't require so much energy intake coupled with nutrient poor and protein poor. So what we need to do is we need to either get off all this or we will have to minimize it as much as possible and we'll have to plant the protein. Now, in fact, it is said that in lot of studies have shown that where the protein percentage is higher, if it is, let us say, around 30 or even 40, 40 is very difficult to go. Let us say anywhere between 25 to 30% of your calories are from protein. Most of the disease can be actually averted, especially lifestyle disease like diabetes or obesity or polycystic ovarian disease in females. What is happening is the protein percentage is very poor. It is just around maybe 10% or 15 max. So if you can raise it to 25 to 30%, most of the disease can be averted, and especially staying off this modern processed food.
Thank you so much, Mr. Iyengar. And well, with that, we've come to an end of this segment of the Protein X Protein Abhiyan. But send us your suggestions on what more you would want us to discuss about protein right here. Do write to us on our social media handles or log on to ndtv.com/proteinabhiyan and take the pledge. Use #ProteinPledge.